Now, the Subway Final Word.
Good evening, I'm Albie Oxenrider, and welcome to the Subway Final Word. This is the show that invites you into the conversation, and you can get your opinion on TV right here on WPXI every Sunday night. What a show we have planned for you tonight. Really big show, really big show. Mark Madden, the afternoon host of 105.9 The X. Welcome back again, Mark. No woo for us? John Steigerwald, veteran sportscaster, author of Just Watch the Game and the Pittsburgh Podcast Network. How are you, John?
Woo!
And Jason Mackey, Trib Total Media, Penn's beat writer. Hi, Jason.
Hi. Woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Some of the topics we'll be talking about tonight: Steelers, free agency, and whether they handled Troy Polamalu correctly, which Pirate needs to have a breakout year, and Jim Boeheim's punishment. Is it possible to succeed in college sports without cheating? First, the night's big topic: the Penguins, winners of 2 in a row and in the playoff push. After the trades are now settling in, is this Penguins team better equipped to succeed in the playoffs than, say, last year's team? Mark, start us off.
Well, it depends. You think what's necessary to succeed in the playoffs. If you think the D has to be big and tough, then the Penguins are in a lot of trouble. If you think the D has to be fast and skilled to beat the other team's forecheck, and certainly a lot of teams in the Metro have that very aggressive, high-tempo forecheck, then they're in pretty good shape. This I do know. Last year, the bottom 6 forwards, the third and fourth line, they were a joke. A bunch of empty jerseys like Brian Gibbons and Joe Vitale and Tanner Glass. This year, the bottom 6 is extremely legit. Also on the positive side, one of the top 3 goalies in hockey, Marc-Andre Fleury, the best defenseman in hockey, Chris Letang. But, as in years past, same old story. If number 87 and 71 don't produce at a level commensurate with their talent, it almost won't matter what else happens.
Staggy, what do you think?
Well, I think they're bigger overall and better defensively overall than they were last year, and I think that's a good thing going into the playoffs. There was a lot of discussion when the Penguins made the trade with Toronto, and they added a forward, and everybody was worried about what's going to happen with all these guys are going to be out of jobs, and what's going to happen to Bo Bennett. That's called depth. You want that problem. If you're starting to wonder where you're going to play good players, that's a good problem to have. And I think that's kind of what Mark said. They have players now who are going to be sitting in the press box in the playoffs. You're going to be thinking, wow, it's a shame that guy can't play. I don't think you were saying that last year.
Jason, better equipped for the playoffs?
I think they're much better equipped, and I agree a lot with what Mark said. It's a different kind of playoff team, but I still think it's a playoff team. And if you look at what they've done the past 2 nights, Anaheim, LA, and man, the LA game was not pretty to the eyes at all, but those are the types of games they're going to have to win. And they did one heck of a job doing that. Playing a physical team, I really think this 2-game set could be something they fall back on confidence-wise, because you can't say they're perfect, but in the playoffs, with some of the struggles they've had, to be able to win a physical game and stay strong and stick with it, I think I see a different playoff team, or a different team in the playoffs right now. All
right, a reminder to keep the comments coming. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word. You can also find us on Facebook at The Final Word. BergFan99 says, if they could fast forward right to the finals, East contenders have dominated us. Mark, the division will be tougher than ever, will it not?
Well, that's just some Twitter dope who looks what happened the last 15 minutes and doesn't pay attention to history. What, because they've been dominated by Metro Division teams this year, they don't have a chance in the playoffs? What about 2013, where they swept the Boston Bruins during the regular season and the Bruins swept them in the Eastern Conference Final? What happens during the regular season has nothing to do with anything in the playoffs. God, you'd think if one fan base had learned that, it's you dopes out there after losing the last 5 years to a lower-seeded team. Wake up.
All right, there's this comment. Yes, they're tougher up front, but perhaps more importantly, Fleury's playing the best hockey of his career. Staggy, do you have faith that this regular season will continue into the playoffs for Marc-Andre Fleury?
No, and not because first of all, I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury was as bad as people think he was in the playoffs. I think he took way too much of the blame for some of the flameouts. A lot of it had to do, most of it I think had to do with the way they were playing in front of him. That's not to say he didn't leave in some soft goals, but you know, I've been hearing since last May that nothing that happens in the regular season matters. The only thing that matters is what happens in the playoffs. So nobody can deny the kind of hockey that Marc-Andre Fleury's been playing here during the regular season, but it doesn't matter. So not a question of not having faith, but I don't think there's any reason to believe he's going to be any better than he was in the past.
Jason, anything to add to that?
It doesn't matter. I mean, really, you know, I'm sitting here thinking about my comment, and you know they can build off of that, but really it's useless. The playoffs are going to come around, and the Penguins are either going to respond to them or they're not. And Marc-Andre Fleury is either going to show up the way he is now or he's not. And that's what's going to make or break this team. A lot of people want to grade on what Mike Johnston is doing and what the system is doing, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless it translates into the playoffs, and we have no way of predicting that based on the regular season.
I think Fleury's going to play great in the playoffs, but if what the team does in the regular season can't be looked upon as an accurate barometer, nor can what any individual does either.
All right, the Penguins wrap up their West Coast trip tomorrow night against the San Jose Sharks. We have a lot to talk about, including Troy Polamalu and Steelers free agency, and are the Steelers treating Troy right? We have this comment from Twitter. Yes, you can't build for the future by refusing to let go of the past. The debate continues with the panel next on the Subway. Final word.